Hello, I'm Dr. James Holt from Washington State University. I teach the theory of constraints over the internet, so you can enroll. See my booth down the hall. That's to satisfy my boss who pays my way, okay? This is a workshop in the beginning of understanding of how critical chain project management works. If you're already an expert in critical chain project management, or if you've done it already, you probably should go down the hall to the advanced section. Or you can stay here if you want to learn how to teach other people the basics. So we're going to talk about those things. And please ask questions as we go, and we'll speed up or slow down, make sure we don't miss the barbecue when it's over. Got it? Thank you. Here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the nature of projects, basically the nature of tasks, the way people behave when they're doing projects, and the problems with traditional project management scheduling. Discuss those so that we'll understand the reasons why critical chain exists and how it works. Then we'll talk about the critical chain method, how to do it in managing and executing projects and dealing with many projects at the same time. And at the end, there's a quiz. So stay awake. Okay, and along the way, we're going to play some games. So what about projects? The nature of projects. Projects are things that we do rarely. Sometimes they're unique. I mean, how many times have you built a new house? Yourself, probably not too many times. So many times we do a project, we do something to get something done, mostly. But we do a project and we don't do them very often. So even if we do repeat the project over and over, we can't quite remember exactly how we did it last time, and it's a little different. And so there's a lot of variability. Actually, building airplanes is sort of a project even, because they don't, they do it every 4 or 5 days, and so sometimes it's a project. But generally, activities in projects are not really well known. If you're putting in a sprinkler system for the first time in your backyard, you're not really sure how dig the holes, and so on. So we're not really sure exactly how to do it or fit the thing. We think we can do it, but we're not sure how. We often share resources. We have to do several projects at the same time because they last a long time, and there's a lot of things going on in our life, and so we have projects that intermingle with each other. Interestingly enough, does this work? Oh, it does. The projects are valued by 3 different things. The content or the scope, how big is it? The schedule, when's it going to be done, and how much is it going to cost to get it done. If it's too expensive, we don't do it. It takes too long, we don't do it. If we don't get very much out of it, we don't do it. It's sort of like this. Whoops. Get that. It's like a 3-legged stool. You turn the 3-legged stool upside down, you balance it on a ball, and the 3 legs are the content, the cost, and the schedule. And if you want to encourage the schedule to be a little shorter, you push on it, you put that leg down, guess what happens? The other 2 legs go up, it costs more, and you don't get as much. Oh, you need more content? Push that down, it's going to cost more and it's take longer. It's taking too long, you want to shorten the project? No problem. It's going to make, but it's, it just, all those things work around. That's not the only thing, because this ball is slanted on a greased slope plank. And the greased slope plank is held up by 3 springs, which are based upon the 3 underlying concepts which cause projects to be difficult to manage. The first one here is the structure, meaning we have to do things in order. It's really hard to put the roof on the house if you haven't put the walls up yet. So you have to do things in order to get projects done. The other one is we just don't know a lot about this variability. Sometimes you can change a tire on a car in 3 minutes, and sometimes your jack's not there, and sometimes the tire's not there, and you jack your car up and it might take several hours to get the tire fixed. So we don't know for sure how long it's going to take. And then there's this thing about human behavior. It's not really a problem in the sense of being bad, but rather it's the problem of how do people behave when they are faced with structural limitations in a world of variability. That would be okay if that was it. But you see, reality changes all the time. And so each one of those underlying principles changes every day because they're riding along the bumpy road of reality on little trains. And so when a bump goes up and then it goes down, the variability goes way out of line. As many of you are probably familiar with some of those things when you're trying to buy lumber, and you buy the lumber, you get home and it has big knots in it, and you cut it and it doesn't work anymore. So all kinds of things with human behavior. Well, we were doing really good until she had her baby, and then we were stopped for a couple of weeks. So anyway, lots of changes happening. These are the nature of projects. The problem is, with the high variability in projects, we're always being challenged by something. All these things are happening and they're changing. What are we going to do? How do we deal with such a thing? If we really were supposed to be living up to all the commitments we made. In order to meet those commitments, we need to make every action we can to meet the endangered thing that was in jeopardy. We're going to miss the schedule? Well, let's hustle, get along with it. So the intention is we really need to compensate for these early misestimates or the variability happening. I thought I could dig this hole in about an hour, but now it's taking me 3 hours. I'm going to be late for a meeting. What am I going to do? So we try and compensate. But on the other hand, we're not supposed to jeopardize any of the commitments we made. And if we delay the project to go to our meeting, we're going to jeopardize the other projects. So there's a big emphasis on not compensating. And this particular conflict is the core conflict in projects for the most part. We could talk more about that, but the issues really belong to why. Well, we didn't have enough safety, schedule was too tight to start with, we promised them too many rooms or too many floors in their apartment house. Why don't we just cut off the top 3 floors and we can get the schedule done right and the cost right. So we overdid those things. As a result of these things, here's what we find. Projects are usually late, somewhere around 95%. They have a lot of changes in scope. And they cost too much. A lot of changes as you're going along. You had a plan to do this, but then you have to do it another way and rework it. Priority battles between projects and between resources and between availability and time, schedules. People, you have a plan to do the project. And you say, when we need it, we'll get that forklift and we'll lift up this thing and put it on our building. Okay, we're now ready, and you turn around for the forklift, and guess what? Somebody's offloading a truck somewhere and it's not available when you need it. So resources are like that. People are like that. Just when you thought they were there, they went to Florida on vacation. Projects rarely live up to the commitments that they were made to the customer, and as a result, we don't see much trust between the customers or the workers or the project manager for sure. So that's the nature of projects. The project structure says that we have to do things in order. These blocks here identify some particular jobs which need to be done in specific order. You can't do this green one until that red one's done. The different colors represent different people. Unlike production, where you have one place who's the bottleneck, and so you buffer the bottleneck and make sure it's always busy, and then that's the best operation for the production line where everybody else has extra capacity. In projects, we don't have a resource which is always the most busy. We have a line of people. It changes. So when you start off with the red one is the busy, and then when he's done, the green one turns busy, and the red one doesn't have anything to do. So it's a different type of a process. It's more like a relay race. I used to be a track star, running a quarter-mile relay. I run my quarter mile, I give the baton to the next guy, and he runs his quarter mile, and so on. And if we're all good, we win. So that's the nature of projects. Sometimes we have these parallel paths in there, but that's what projects look like. So projects are too long, too late, over budget. Why does this happen? All kinds of excuses. Well, we didn't have enough safety. there wasn't enough time, we couldn't finish everything that we wanted, there wasn't enough money left, and hey, it's a pretty nice house anyway, and if you don't put the roof on, you can make it into a sunroom. So, whatever. So why have people been having trouble doing this? How long do you think they've been trying to fix this problem? You know, they did finish the pyramids eventually, but we don't know exactly how long it took to get done. Can there be a simple solution? Yeah, there is, because that's why we're here, right? So we knew that. Well, maybe we can figure it out. So let's play a game. Is that fair? Okay. So we're going to talk now about the nature of tasks by playing a game. I call this the sixes game. So you all have a die, right? How many have a die? Raise your hand. Okay, almost everybody. I ran out, so the rest of you will have to imagine. Look at it carefully and make sure it has a 6 on it. I have some die which are manipulated and they don't have 6s, but I think all these have 6s on them. Okay, if you don't have a 6, don't participate. Okay, so you all have a 6, right? Now, I want you to tell me now how many times you're going to have to roll the die to get a 6. Don't roll it yet. You have to think first. In a minute, we will, but how many do you think? How many times do you have to roll it to get a 6? 4, 3, 4, 1. You can get it in 1, right? Maybe. Maybe not. 10? You could be 10? Who thinks 8.5? Well, tell you what. You guys roll until you get a 6. Count how many rolls it takes, and I'll make a chart here, and we'll plot it and see how long it takes so we can get a better grip of how many. So everybody roll until you get a 6. Okay, how many people did it in 1? Just 1. I'm looking for hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many did it in 2? 1, 2. How many did it in 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, very popular. How many did it in 5? I'm sorry, in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay, 4 is also popular. I just messed this up here. 5. 5. 5 people at 5. That's good. Looks like the average is pretty much 5. 6. 1, 2. 7. 8. 8. 9. 10, 11. Okay, everybody's finished. 11? Okay, so did everybody make it in 11? Okay, well, it's kind of a skewed distribution with an average about 5. Everybody would like to bet that it takes 5? Could it take longer? Yeah. You might guess because my chart goes longer. Why don't you try it again? Let's see. Let's do it. Every roll again and we'll find out. We'll take another count. You have to take about 40 or 50 samples here. How many ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoa! That's a very popular number. 2. 1, 2, 3. 4. 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. 5. See, 5's not so popular anymore. 6. 7. 8. 9. Any more than 7? 10? Okay. That's it? You guys must be good rollers. The average looks a lot different than this. I play this game quite a bit. It looks mostly like that. Usually there's somebody in a group this large who rolls 20 or 30 rolls. It's usually a manager. This is basically a negative exponential distribution. We can look at it specifically. It looks like that. In order to get the first one, the probability of the first roll says 1 chance in 6. The probability to get it in exactly 2 rolls is you've missed it on the first roll, so that's 5/6. And then the second chance is 1/6. And then it keeps going down like that. So it looks like that. So that's the nature of rolling dice. You probably wonder why we're doing that. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. If we take a look at this probability density, meaning if you take the probability of rolling a 1 and multiply it by 1, and then the probability of rolling a 2 and multiply it by 2, and the probability of rolling a 10 and multiply it by 10, and add all those things together, and then divide them all out so you get an appropriate ratio, it looks like this. Looks like that curve. It's a perfect, pretty close to a beta distribution where alpha beta between 0 and 50. Probably don't care, but this is the curve we use for projects. So this turns out to be a pretty nice, interesting way to experience the activities which happen in projects. When we estimate the duration of tasks in a project, we estimate something like the minimum time and the maximum time and the most probabilistic time. It's an effort to try and draw this beta distribution, which describes how long it's going to take to do a task. That's how we do estimates. So this is an interesting case. So here's a case for you. The median is about 8. The average is about 12 probability, and this tail can go out there. So somewhere between 3 and 12 rolls, most of the things happen. All right? Are you ready? We're going to do the next part of the game now. You are whoops, get down here, get these buttons right. You are a contractor. Each one of you are contractors, have it out. Here's the rules. You're going to roll, you work according to that die. The number of days it's going to take you to do that your work is on that die. So here's the deal. You've processed according to that die, and I will pay you 100% of the contract amount if you complete your work by the time you tell me. If you miss it, meaning if it takes you longer than what you tell me on the contract, then I'll only pay you 50% and I'll never contract with you again. So that's the penalty. Don't miss your project, right? So I want to know, what's your bid? How many rolls is it going to take you to live up to your contract? Okay. It's 30 rolls, he says. No, because it's contract, and I'm not going to be able to do the follow-on part until you get yours done. Okay, so here's how we'll do it. How many of you will participate if you have 30 rolls to do your project? Raise your hand. I'm going to watch now and see how sensitive you are to the amount of time. How about 29? If you drop your hands, that means you're not sensitive. You don't want to play anymore. So you don't want to play at all, do you? Okay, raise your hands up, because we have to watch each other and see how sensitive it is, because I don't. So we get here to 25. Will you play at 25? Okay, play at 22, 20, 18, it's starting to lose some here, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. Remember, this is real. What you rolled on the floor is a sample. So would you play if you have somewhere around 85% playing? Okay, that's pretty good. All right, well, let's talk about it a little bit. Since I have the slides all prepared, I'm going to assume that you stayed in the game at 18 because you want to stay in business and you want to contract with me because I pay a lot. Okay, so here we go. Let's suppose I have 10 contractors for simplicity, so we can add the numbers up. I have 10 contractors, and each one wanted to be 95% safe, so they give me 18 days to do the contract. Okay? Now, that's a long time, 180 days. All of you now roll your dice and see. If you all have your contracts, roll your dice, you have 18 rolls to get it. And if you all make it in less than 18, you all get paid. Okay, just keep rolling until if somebody exceeds, let's see, how many is that, 17? Okay, everybody made it in less than 18? Okay, good. So we got a 95% chance times 20. Sometimes that works out to about a 50-50 chance of making it. So the fact that we made it, you made it, is 50-50 chance. Usually we'll get somebody who'll roll higher. But there's a probability of the failure there. Now, I want you guys to realize that every employee that works for you in a project world is basically like that. He's a contractor who works for you, and if he doesn't finish on time, his rating goes down or whatever, and it just loses. So he's just like contractors. And so when you start talking about your employees who do projects for you, that's the same sort of thing they have. They're trying to dealing with it. Okay. Now, 180 days to do a project where you guys can obviously do it in much less time. The average is much, much less than that. Seems like a long time for contractors to have that. In projects, we say, look, it would sure be nice if we could cut that in half and get it down to where we have a realistic sum. How many of you would play the game if we did 9 days? You guys are optimistic. Okay, roll your dice. Did anybody, okay, you just rolled your dice a minute ago. How many of you got over 9 days? So, see, that would have been a problem. We got 2 people over 9 days. And if you guys take more than 9 days, then I miss delivery to my customer. So that's a problem. And then I'm out of, that's why I won't work with you again, is because I look bad. You guys are late and I don't, so. What we do in the theory of constraints is we say, let's take that short estimate, which is probably too short, 9 days, I'm going to miss my estimate to my customer because some of you are going to take longer than anticipated. So what I'll do is say, that's too short, too aggressive, 90 days. So I'm going to take half of what I took away. So we had 180 days. And then we went to 90 days. We had 90 days that we took off, but if I take half of what I removed, so half of 90 is, and 50% of that, it'll basically say 45 rolls, add that back up there, and I get 135 days. What happens is with that buffer, I tell you guys, you got 9 days, and then this is my buffer for the project. I can finish in 135 days, 95% of the time, probably even higher with your good lucky rollers here. Okay, so that's the way we approach projects. We realize that your people who are doing the work are rolling a 6. We give them plenty of time, but not all the time they want. We take the time they ask for, which is the human behavior side, cut it in half. If you guys want to play at 16, we could cut you in half to be to 8 or whatever. And then you add on half again, and you'll still be really comfortable there. We don't have enough time to play more of those, but you can play that game at home on your own. You should try that, and you'll like it in the end. Now, sometimes we have parallel tasks in projects. Like here, we see we have a path going along here. In this simple project, we see the Brown resource has to work in 2 places at the same time. Can a person be in actually 2 places at the same time anywhere but on Star Trek? No. They did that once in Harry Potter, I think. She had a wind-up thing. And anyway. Can they do 2 things at the same time? Well, maybe. You can drive and text on your phone, right? For a short time. Let's do another game. Is that okay? Let's see what happens when we play this game. This is talking about the behavior of people now. This is called the paper tearing game. Jim, can you come up and help me? What I want you to do is everybody take one colored paper and one white paper.
You want me to start with the back?
Yeah. So take a white paper and quick hand it around and take a colored paper. Okay, so this is the way we'll do this. I'll have to perform it, so and please try and follow the directions. It's not that hard. I don't want you to become a perfectionist or an architect or anything else. I mean, there's some people who hate to have odd-shaped paper. But here's how we do it. You just hold the paper when we start. Don't do it yet. Wait until I start because it's a timed event. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to hold up a piece of paper and you get to tear it twice. And the idea is to tear it in 4 columns and then to tear each column into 5 pieces. So 1 tear. Doesn't matter how wide. Just need to tear it down. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. Okay, that's the first one. Then I put that down on your lap or wherever you got. And then I do 2 tears. Don't do it yet. Give that guy another piece of paper. Translations happen, right? Yeah, you can't tear them both the paper. And don't fold the paper and try and make it perfectly square. I mean, we're just doing this. This is going to be fast. Okay, after I've done the white one, then I'm going to go back to the orange one and tear it again. That's my 3 tears. And so now I get to tear one. I have 2 tears. Now I'm going back to the white one, tear it 1 again, and tear it, okay? So, and then I just repeat. Go back 1, 2, back 1, 2, okay? And we're going to time you. So, okay, are you ready? 2 tears. We're multitasking here. We're trying to be in 2 places at the same time. You have 2 projects, a colored paper and a white paper. You tear one twice, the other one twice. One twice, the other one twice. And I'm going to time you. And so I will just call out the times out loud. And when you finish, you just remember. Okay, on your mark, get set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. It should be close to finished by now. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Only 2 tears per color. Yeah. Okay, now I have to figure out the time. 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 70, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. We need bigger laps, don't we? 83, 84, 85. Now, this is a game you can play with your workers. Back home, it's quite expensive. You have to buy that colored paper and then steal the other paper out of the copy machine, but you can do it. So the question is, how long did it take? Quite a while, it seemed like. The real question is, what happens when you're working in 2 places at the same time? Start and stop. Yeah, well, that's a little problem, but there's other problems. Look at your pieces of paper and count them. How many of you have exactly 20 pieces of colored paper and 20 pieces of white paper? So if you have one hand up for 20 pieces of white paper, the other hand up if you have 20 pieces of colored paper. Not on average. How many pieces of paper? Okay, keep counting. I know when you get up to 30, it's hard to keep counting. Okay, here we almost done. Ready? Okay, so here's the truth. Almost. We got one still counting. Must have had 50 pages. Okay, if you have 20 white papers, one hand. If you have 20 colored papers, raise the other hands. How many of you got both hands up? 3. How many of you have no hands up? Okay, you got one hand? Who's got one hand? We got 3 with one hand up, 3 with 2 hands up, and that makes 28 with no hands up. What happened? I mean, it was that complicated? I showed you very carefully how to do it. Is it so hard? It was a timed event, I'm sure. That was probably it. It was the stress of the situation. Now, how many of you have people that you give 5 or 10 tasks to and expect them to do quality work? You raising your hands because you do that? Now we're ready to do it. Let's do it again. Jim, please come back and help us out again. You do that in confessing. Okay, we'll give Jim half of these. You need some more colors?
No, I got some.
Okay. Okay, this time we're going to do it again, only this time we're going to do white ones and then colored ones. Okay? So, make sure we all get some white, one each white one and one colored one. So now this is an expensive game because you have to buy 2 colors of paper. Please, before you get confused, make sure that the ones you did already are moved off to the side so you don't get confused because we're going to count them. So take the ones you have and hide them somewhere. Put them in your coffee or something. Okay, everybody has 2 papers? Okay, so first we're going to do the white one. Tear it 3 times down, pick up one sheet, not all, not the stack, one at a time, and tear each one 4 times, and then the next one 4 times, so on and so on. You got it? It's a timed event, a lot of stress. After you finish the white one, you don't have to wait for me to start. You just start the colored one, okay? On your mark. Get set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. My, you're almost done. Last time we went to 88. And you're done in 40-something. That should be worth something. Now, with such a rush on and the time pressure, the quality probably went worse though, right? You did it in half the time, so the quality is going to be half as Now, let's see. Okay, count your papers. Let's see what happens. Count the colored paper, count the white paper. We're going to have a show of hands. Remember last time we had 10% of the people who were able to get 20 and 20, and we added another 10%, so we had 20% who got at least one right. But sadly, we had 90% who couldn't do both. Still counting. I know they're odd shapes and it's kind of awkward here, but okay, we ready? So, one hand for white, one hand for colored. How many got 20 and 20? Whoa, that's really good. Now, I'm seeing a few hands down, so we got about 80%. No, there were more up. So, there were some that didn't get it, right? That's okay. But we went from 10% quality to 85% quality just by not multitasking. Okay? That's why we played the game. I want you to take that home. Now, there's another game here I've got on the sheet, and you'll see it if I can figure out how to find my thing. This is called the number letter shape game. We're not going to play it primarily because I can't make it through. I can't do it. What you do is you take a piece of paper and you draw 3 columns on it. You draw 2 lines down to get columns, and then you fill in the columns like this. 1, A, circle. 2, B, triangle. 3, C, square. And then it repeats. Circle, triangle, square on the long right side and the letters, okay? That's all you have to do. Practice. You can see this game. You can share these materials. Try it with your employees because that last one was trivial. This one's a mental game. You have to remember the alphabet. I'll bet you all know the alphabet. And you know the numbers 1 to 26. But when you have to write them in this way, it makes a brain freeze somehow. And you'll be amazed how long it takes to write them horizontally versus writing them vertically, okay? So you do that on your own. We'll move along. Please understand that bad multitasking is a bad thing. It really is the worst thing for quality purposes, particularly when there's mental things involved. You probably realize when you're working on a difficult problem and then you be pulled away and you're working on something else, you keep thinking about that difficult problem and says, oh, I need to go back there, but I can't until I have enough time to devote to it, because once I get started on that thing, it's going to take me a long time to gear up and I don't want to break away. So jumping back and forth is a quality problem extraordinaire. So if you have quality problems or you need to do your work faster, you cut the time in half, double the quality for sure if you can cut out the multitasking. That's the first thing. But here's the other approach. If you have some tasks that you're assigned and each one you estimate will take about 4 days, and you got 3 different bosses who all want these things done, and they call you frequently. He says, how you doing on project A? Oh, I'm working on it. How about another guy calls B, you working? Yeah, I'm working on it. C calls, I'm working on it. So if you work a little bit on each one and shift them about, you can finish all 4 these tasks, 4-day tasks, 3 4-day tasks in somewhere around 12 days with a little space in between there for getting back and forth. It's going to take you a little longer than 12 days, but this is what we do every day. You do, and the employees that work for you in projects, we do this all the time. We change from things and go along. So we basically change our estimate. Whoops. Is that a problem? Well, it is sort of a problem because what we do is instead of thinking in our minds that we're doing this, we basically think we're doing this. So somebody asks you how long it's going to take. You say about 14 days, and then you work on it like that. Just think about if I gave you a white paper, an orange paper, a green paper, a blue paper, and a yellow paper, and then had you tear each one. What would happen? It would just take forever, and probably quality would be messy. So we estimate long estimates for the first part. Let's ask some questions. How many times a day do you receive phone calls? How many emails do you receive every day? How many times do you talk to other people in your office every day? Okay, you think about all those contacts you make with other people. What percentage of the phone calls, emails, and conversations are on the one most important task of the day? What percentage? You're working on a key task on your project. 5%? Oh, you're maybe optimistic. That's probably because you initiated the call, maybe. You get 5%. But if people are calling you, are they calling you about the thing that you should be working on? Typically not. So you're multitasking just by answering the phone and by reading your email and listening to the boss and whatever. So if you spend more than 40% on that one task of the day, you're a really focused person. I commend you, but that's more like 5%. So is it no wonder that our tasks take forever when we only allow our workers to work on them for 5% of the day? Is it no wonder why the quality is bad? There's some issues here with people. This first one, I call it engineering optimism, but it's also called the student syndrome. If you're an engineer and they give you a task that you think you can finish in like 4 days, and they give it to you right here when it says now, when will you do? When will you do the work? When will you start? It's only going to take 4 days. It's due over here on day 14. Well, would you start it there? You'd only do that if there's nothing else to do, right? Do you have anything else to do? How many colored pieces of paper do you have on your desk? What about here? Or here? Or what about over there? Because you know you can do that 4-day task in about 2 days. You're optimistic. That's what I call engineering optimism. I think I could do it in a couple of days. Yeah, everybody else takes 4 days, but I think I can do it in 2 days. So even with the best time we give them, it ends up being late part of the time from our resources. Then there's the thing we call the student syndrome, because I give my students a homework assignment. You need to turn in a paper in 2 weeks. It has to do this book report. Everybody has to turn it in. Okay, so they get the information here. They think about it. Yeah, okay, I can get that. It's not due till here. And then what happens to the students in the next 2 weeks? Well, it's the sorority party, and then the fraternity party, and the basketball game, and Mother's Weekend, and whatever. And so it actually goes negative. They used to know about it, and then they forgot. So this goes negative here, and then they eventually get out all the work and try and finish it off before the due date. It's due on Friday. Why should you asking me on Thursday if it's finished? It's not due till tomorrow. Of course, when you go to the library to get the book that you need to get the book report, when do you go? Do you go here when the book is available? No, you have to download it at a price over eBay because the book's not available anymore. So all the problems happen when you're doing the work, not when you're wasting the time. So that's engineering optimism. There's another one called Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law says work expands to fill the time available. Work expands to fill the time available. So here we have a good engineer, has a 4-day task, does it right here, and he finishes. Hey, that's great, I got it all done. Really good. And then he says, I got about 10 more days here. I want to think about this for a while and make sure there's not any improvements that I should make. So don't turn it in yet, because I might want to change it. And then he says, hey, I wonder if I could tweak this and make it a little bit better. Or maybe I should try a whole new other thing. And by the time it gets done, even with Parkinson's Law, we end up being late. Because work turns it in. It's due on Friday. it's Monday. Why are you asking me if I finished? It's not due till Friday. So I'm still working on it. These two things, human behavior, combine together to mean that when we give people 18 days to roll their dice, how long does it take? 18 days. After all, if you argued with your boss to get 18 days and you finished in 9 days, would you go in and tell him that you were wrong? Probably not. Okay, so now we know about projects. Let's take a look at the scheduling. What we see is that we have when we have a long task like this, we add safety in it. In some cases, we add safety for Parkinson's law. We use all the time that's available. And the other time, we waste the safety up front. So this guy consumed the safety because he didn't turn it in on time. This guy wasted the safety up front because he didn't use it. And so about half of our tasks are full of unused safety. And when you put these in a queue of 1, 2, 3, 4 projects, you see that half of the length of the projects are full of safety. And the interesting part is, with bad multitasking happens and makes this thing all work because we're working on many things at the same time during the time when we have safety. When we look at our projects, what we see is that we sometimes have these parallel paths. We can't do those together, so we shouldn't be scheduling a person to work in 2 places at one time. So we need to offset that. So critical chain project management scheduling says, don't be scheduling conflicts, so put a gap in here. That makes the project a little bit longer in some cases. But when we take a look at this, we say, half of that stuff, even when we schedule this way, if all of these guys complete on time, 80% of these tasks complete on time, what is the result? The result is that 95% of the time the project's late. You say, well, how does that work? Well, here's a couple examples. Here's a project. 90%, these guys are on time, on time, on time, on time, on time. One guy was late, so the project's late. See another one. On time, short. If you look, only 15 days there. On time here, on time, on time, on time. Whoops, what happened? Oh yeah, this one guy was late. So any one of these guys in the system can make it late. That's traditional scheduling. With critical chain project management scheduling, we're going to do it a different way. We need to focus on the critical chain, remove the conflicts, use aggressive scheduling, meaning use a median estimate, not the safe estimate, but a median estimate, and we'll insert strategic buffers in the right places, eliminate milestones, and decouple the critical chains from feeder chains. I'll show you how all that works, and report how much is completed. So here's a project. We take a look at the individual tasks. They look like that. So they have that beta distribution built in there. And the estimate is like 90, 85, 95%, something like that. Because your employees want to deliver on time. They're not being bad. They want to live up to their promises just like the contractor. And so they're doing good things. But half of that's safety. So we're going to take the safety out of the project task, not away from the individual, because we're going to give that safety back to them, but we're going to take it out and give like a 50% estimate. The 50 or median estimate is, it's not the average, but it's the 50% above and 50% below. And that average will cut our durations about in half. These people want to deliver to their promises. We will allow them to do that, but we're going to schedule according to critical chain. So for each one of these, if half of that task is safety, we're going to take it out and move it along a different way. So what happens is we get a shorter, aggressive schedule, and we take that safety that we took out and put it in the place where it'll do some good at the end. But we sure don't need all that safety. what we've determined from many examples and theoretical examples, analytical studies, and empirical evidence, if you put in about half of what you took out, this thing will finish 95% on time. So you get a shorter project that's much safer. And we do need to protect this other chain here. You see there's some, this is a feeding chain that's going to impact our critical chain. So we insert a little buffer there. This little buffer on the bottom here protects us so that now we have a little bit longer project, but this activity here will not impact us. So that's how we would figure that work. So now we have fat projects, 95% late, skinny projects, shorter, and on time, 95%. This is a very significant change. That's why we do it in the first place. Now, here's how we manage the execution. We'll do this fairly quickly. If we have a critical chain project, the most important things to manage are, is the critical chain done, is the buffer there, or how fast are we consuming the buffer? We have a safety buffer at the end, and we have a project little safety buffer on the feeder buffer. And this buffer consumption, meaning that the amount that our project pushes into our safety buffer, is a leading measure, meaning not popular, but it tells us in advance whether we're in trouble or not. We use the fever chart. Rob Newbold was the guy who invented this fever chart, but I looked around trying to find a book that had it in it, and the best one I could get was the project management, the TOC way, first chapter. But at any rate, there's a resource for that. So let's take an example. Here's a critical chain project. Let's suppose it's today, is right there. There's our project. We expect to complete right there where the arrow is. And where 0% is done and 0% safety is consumed, are we in trouble? We haven't even started. I hope we're not in trouble when we start. So what we do is we put a dot right here. This is where we are. 0% of the critical chain, 0% of the safety, we're right there. Now let's look at move over in time. 0% of the critical chain is done, and we've consumed time. This guy says, we gave him 10 days, but when we ask him how much is left, he says, hey, I need another 12 days. He says, whoa. So he needs 18. His estimate pushed us over into the critical chain. And so we've 5% of our safety is consumed. Are we in trouble yet? Well, it's moved us up a little bit. Let's go to another one. We're moving over here. He recovered some of his time. He says, now I only need 5 days left. So my safety was returned. Well, where did that safety go? Oh, we used all the feeder buffer. That slid over. But feeder buffer's not really important. We only use it for planning. Once it's planned, you can kind of forget about the feeder buffer as long as they start when they're supposed to. So we've moved back here to where we're good. Okay, now we've finished this task. He's finished 17% of the critical chain. We haven't used any of our safety, so we're in good shape. Now we've pushed into the buffer a little bit, 17% into the safety, 17% is done. How are we doing? We're doing pretty good. Slowly working across, 33% of our project is done, 50% of the buffer is consumed. Are we in trouble? Ooh, that sounds like we might be. Yep, we're in the red. Okay, what should we do? When you're in the red, management shows up and actually does something. This is different. You know, management usually shows up and complains. When you get in the red, management shows up and helps you, hires more people, outsources, overtime, whatever it needs to get you back into the green. So let's see if they did it on the next one. We're still working our way along. 50-50, okay, we got back in there. So that's the way we manage using the fever chart, is tracking how much buffer is consumed and how much activity has been done. We use this tracking feature on this chart, and here's the whole path that we went through as we went through that game. Tells us how we're doing and gives us the history of the chart. And when you can look at individual projects, or you can use multiple projects, based upon what you know already. If we scheduled these 3 projects, we only have one red person, one green person, and so on. What would happen if we started them all at the same time? Not good. Ripping papers, right? So that wouldn't be good. We don't want to do that. Bad multitasking would lead to all kinds of problems. We could sequence them. Here I could sequence them based upon the Brown resource and start them like that. Would that work? It would be better, but what's the probability that this red one, green one, and that color, whatever that is, all finish when they're supposed to? Not real good. So this is not going to be good either, because if the first one is late here and he pushes everything over here, this guy will be late, and then he'll push this one over late, so this first guy could impact all the other projects. So we don't do that. We insert instead a schedule buffer. So what we take is the scheduling buffer is 100% of our critical scheduling function here. So now I've got a schedule buffer. It says the next project should be scheduled so that the next Brown resource starts at the end of the schedule buffer. Then I have another schedule buffer and the next Brown resource. This is the critical change schedule and multi-project that we would use. It allows you to schedule these things far enough apart. Remember, you're doing much faster, much higher quality, and when you use this method, you can do multiple projects and roll those things out in sequence. The quality is greatly improved. You start those at the right times. If you don't have a specific resource to do this type of scheduling, meaning you don't have a Brown resource, which is the thing that you need, alternatively, you can use a virtual drum, which is explained elsewhere, meaning we only let so many projects in place. We can use this for single projects. So here's the single project schedule. This is project X. Here's project X in the multi-project report. So with a glance, management can determine exactly what we need to do, which projects need help, and which way we go. The benefits are big. We heard that big 3-page list of all the benefits from Mazda. But here we see very high probability of completion, shorter times, higher quality, less cost. We get lots to gain, particularly in multi-project environments. In single projects, we expect about a 25% reduction. In multi, we get 50% or more, and many successful implementations. We'll pass on the quiz. Those who want to stay, we can take that. But let me just pass through and show you a few additional resources. There's lots of them. I'll recommend this one here on the bottom. It says the Phoenix Project. These are two of my students who wrote that. I was on Amazon this morning checking things out. And guess what the 2 top books are for production and operations at Amazon? They actually fill the top 4 positions to the best sellers on Amazon. One of those is The Goal, the book, and the other one is The Goal, the Kindle version, in the top 4. And the other one that's on the top 4 is the Phoenix Project, just has the number 2 place. The Kindle version beats out the Goal Kindle, and the 4th place is the Phoenix Project, the paperback edition, paper edition. So that's a very good one, particularly if you have anything to do with IT. The hero in the Phoenix Project is an IT ops person. So if there are any questions, I'll hang around. I think our recording's going to go over, though, and so we don't want to miss the barbecue, right? There is a question. Okay, just a second. We'll take this one first.
Okay, Witold Jankowski from Poland. Your approach starts by cutting in half the time that the employees would normally give. What if they smarten up next time and they say, if you cut the time by half, why not make it 4 times as big normally?
They might.
Is that a theoretical problem?
No, it's an actual problem, but you know what you do?
Okay.
You stop multitasking them. Pretty soon they'll run out of things to do, and they'll stop cutting they'll stop adding stuff to their time.
Okay, because you'll see they're not busy.
Remember all the reasons we talked about how people only get 5% of their time to do the work? With critical chain project management, we're going to give them 50% or 75% of the day working on the tasks. They will cut their estimates by themselves.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions?
Good one, by the way.
Yeah. So, will you explain about this finished project? So what kind of project is for our more understanding?
Say it again, please. I'm sorry.
Will you explain about this briefly for finished project? So what kind of project for what is the proposed finished project?
For a finished project,
Phoenix.
the Phoenix,
Phoenix,
the
yeah.
Phoenix, oh, the Phoenix project?
Yeah.
The Phoenix project is, the book is about IT operations. The authors are both very experienced software programmers in big companies like MasterCard and Citibank. They know, and so the book is all about the problems with rolling out a new addition to your IT, a new project. And so the Phoenix project happens to be the project which is going to save this retail company, and they've been working on it for 2.5 years, and it's got $200 million or something invested in this thing, and they just need to get this thing done and rolled out. And of course they roll it out and it doesn't work, and then they try, and all the crashes to make it go, and what they do, and all the, and but in the end they figure out how to really do projects using critical chain, using Scrum and Agile and everything placed together in the right ways until the end is almost so beautiful you can't hardly believe it. The only thing that helps you realize that it is possible is like the presentation from Mazda that said they can make an engine which has almost the same carbon dioxide as electric motor. Unbelievable results. These things are possible when you put the things together.
Thank you.
I have a theoretical and application question. The first, when you say that you need a schedule buffer, when you sum a lot of averages, you have the average in the aggregation. When you say, I put, let's say, 10 steps with 50% of completion on time, the expectation is that I will finish on time, because if the first is late 50% of time, the second 50% of time is earlier. If I sum a lot of 50%, the expectation is that I will finish on time. With how more I have aggregation, the less variability I have. Isn't it true?
It's true if your distribution is a normal distribution. But projects don't follow a normal distribution. They're rolling sixes. And so you get a tail very often. And the tail can be quite long. So everyone can be rolling an average of 8, 7 or 8, but then somebody rolls 24. This tail is a killer in projects. So that's why we aggregate in this way. One thing, it's elegantly simple, but it's really solid statistically in analysis. So it sounds like we're making an arbitrary cut in half and then adding half back, but that is just a beautiful simplicity of the issue. I've done a lot of theoretical and simulations and so on. The issue is the tail, and in advanced class, we'll talk about how to cut that tail off, but we won't do that today.
Okay, next question. If I have a project that I have very few steps, perhaps 2 steps, how can I apply this knowledge? Because this variability becomes very strong. I can do not multitask with the first resource and the second resource, but the chance that they will get the 50% is much more strong.
Yes, that's correct. The aggregation, this is an advanced material, but basically, if you have to have at least four or more activities in line before the aggregation will give you that protection. If you only have 2 tasks, you cut them in half and you add back half again, you've got about a 50-50 chance of making it, not 95%.
Exactly.
But if you get over 4 tasks and the variability is only mild, you're just fine at 95%. If you have only 4 tasks and you have huge variability on a highly unknown thing, you're still only about 70%. So I can give you a table which builds the table of how long the projects are and how much variability is in each one. That'll tell you roughly where you're safe. But it occurs very quickly. And any project of any particular size, meaning more than 10, it's always valuable. If it's short, high variability, it's not. So be safe.
Yeah, thanks.
Other questions? So you mentioned in the beginning that a lot of projects don't tend to have a predetermined schedule in advance. What happens, though? It seems to me that according to the material, these kind of projects are predetermined, have a predetermined sequence.
A due date and a sequence, yes.
Right. But what do you do if, let's say, it's iterative to the sense that you're just going a few steps at a time and then you have to reiterate the entire schedule? Does that work?
Yes, you
so my
can.
question is, are there certain situations where CCPM does not work?
No. The answer to the question is no. But are there environments where it's difficult? Yes. For instance, research. How do you estimate how long it's going to take, and you cut it in half, and then you put your buffer on there and tell them when you're going to finish the research when you have no idea what you're going to do next? But you can still use critical chain project management plan because you can research, you can plan 4 or 5 steps in ahead, you use an aggressive schedule, and you focus and work on your schedule, and then when you do the next level, you're still okay. You just don't have that successful buffer to tell you, but you can still work it and get the same benefits out of it, even in research. Where projects not work, say CPM, and I just can't think of anywhere where you cannot benefit as long, these very short ones, yeah, do what you have to do. But if you got something that actually involves multiple resources, particularly in multi-projects, oh, it's a beautiful solution. Hospitals, administrative buildings, and so on. If you want to, we can do it very simply. In fact, we have free applications for your iPhone to do critical chain project management. We'll talk about that on the last day, Thursday. Okay?
Any other questions?
Okay, what we'll do is after the recording's over, we'll take the quiz, and then you can not have your votes on record. Okay. Thank you. Tasks on the same project assigned to you, you can work either task right now. One task is on the critical chain, the other task is not. It's on the feeding path. You should ask the project manager what to do. That's kind of a waste of time. Do the feeding chain first to make sure it doesn't impact the critical chain? No, you should do the one on the critical chain first. Oh, you guys are good. Work a little bit on each one and then mess them both up. Yeah, that would be good too. You're a special resource. Ooh, that's pretty much all of you. And you're working on 3 tasks from on 3 tasks, each from a different project. So you have 3 things going. One task, each task, oh, they're all on the critical chain. So 3 tasks, all on the critical chain. One task on project W is in the green, one task is in the yellow, and one is on the red. Which one should you do? Yeah. Do the red one. Or ask the project manager, and that's a waste of time too. You take up his time and your time. If you can find the guy, right? Do the one that's quickest. No, you need to do the red one. If you had 2 red ones, then do the one that's the quickest. That's what I would recommend. Whoops. You are now the project manager, and it's in the green. There's another project manager who has a project who's in the red. You should be happy that the other guy's in trouble and you're not, right? you should do your tasks quickly. You should volunteer to give your resources to the other guy. Ooh. Would you really do that? No way. Finish your project quickly. You want to stay looking good, right, guys? This is TOC. We use system thinking. We're trying to get the system to win. We don't want individual tasks to complete on time. In fact, we don't even care about our project being in the green. What we want is our company to finish our projects on time. So what's the right answer? You're working on the critical chain for a project that's in the yellow, but you have been delayed for a long time awaiting some needed response from somebody else in the company. You should find something else to do so you could be productive. You should document who is it that's causing the delay so you can point the finger at them. You should ask for help from the project manager and others. Or just carry on the best you can. C is a very popular option. This is the time when you need to go say, look, I have done everything I can do to get this other guy to help, but they're not working. It's time to elevate, go to your manager, let him go to the other manager, work yourself down. You might be able to get that thing back before it hits the red. Maybe. Are you working on the critical chain task for it's in the yellow? A good friend calls and asks you to assist him working on his critical chain task on a different project. So you should ask your friend, what's the status of your project? What favor will you do for me? Who's your project manager? How does your project affect me? Which is the correct answer? C is a very popular option, but it's not the one. This should be A. Because it's obvious. And if the guy happens to be a CEO or a vice president, and he comes down and says, Amon, can you do this task for me? You know, I just need it so I can finish, you know, I'm building this house and I just need your engineering. Can you approve this drawing for me? What do you say? You say, what's the status of your project? He says, it's in the red. Okay? He's up there. He says it's in the red. He understands what that means. You do it. But usually you can say no. He says, that project is not an approved project on our system. Why are you asking me to do it? And if the management in the company has an appropriate training, they will immediately say, I'm sorry, when would be a good time to come back? He says, I should be finished by Friday. I'll have time then, and I'll be glad to help you. So this is a defense mechanism, and all computer software, critical chain computer software, tells every person who has a task which priority they're supposed to be working on first, and if anybody else asks and their priority is less than that, you can easily say, I'm sorry, I can't do that now, I have a red one, or I'm working on a yellow one, or whatever. And you say, looks like I've got about 3 days worth of work. I'll be glad to fit it in unless that other one gets read first. So you can make very good and appropriate responses. I think this is the last one. You have two tasks from two different projects. Both are in the on their critical chain, and both are red. I answered this one before now. It's a giveaway. What should you do if you have two that are both red? I should work a little bit on one, and then a little bit on another, and a little bit on one, a little bit on... Is that a good option? No. Should I find out which project is the most red? The reddest one? The one that's worth more to money than the others? Usually not. Just don't go there. Ketchup is ketchup. If it's red, it's ketchup. Maybe you should try and find a different project to work on that's not red. Or focus on the task that we can done the quickest. This is the one that I would recommend. Focus on the one task on the one project. You do the first, get it out of the way so that project is moving along, and then work on the other one, the red one. Okay? That would be my recommendation. Okay, well, I look forward to having you all in classes at Washington State University. Just so you know, Spiros graduated in May this year from our master's program. Congratulations, Spiros.